Well, I know that you don't want anyone else to drive this car, but I do need the key.
Very, very insightful of you, Zach.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a very cold, for Los Angeles, day in the canyons. Yes, we are both wearing puffy jackets because it's cold to us. If you're in Minnesota, yeah, I know. We are wusses. We are not strong people. But that is not important. What is important, you, Mark, have performed a manual swap.
Yes, that's correct.
So many of us on the internet dream about doing to various cars
Yeah.
in an effort to save money and kind of, get our dream car without having to settle for an automatic.
That's exactly what I need. I couldn't afford buying a manual straight out, so I settled for the R8, and then I realized I need a manual.
So the R8 was, it's a single clutch,
Yes.
almost robotic shifted manual, right?
Yeah.
Similar to the BMW SMG. It's rebranded. It's the Lamborghini E-Gear rebranded. But you have a normal transmission, and there's just a robot doing the shifting for you.
Exactly.
And those systems were the bridge to get to DCTs and other things. What were the things you didn't like about it?
Hey folks, today's video is brought to you by Fixed. This little OBD2 scanner is awesome. It automatically syncs to your smartphone via Bluetooth while you're driving, so you can continuously monitor your car's health. And unlike other OBD2 sensors, Fixed provides detailed, easy to understand information to help you feel confident at the repair shop or complete the repairs yourself. Fixed not only gives you access to detailed information you can use once your car breaks, but also includes powerful features to help you save money and avoid costly repairs and breakdowns in the first place. Fixed works with all gas-powered vehicles 1996 or newer. If your check engine light comes on, Fixed can instantly tell you in depth what's wrong in plain, simple terms right on your smartphone. You can find out how serious the issue is, so you know whether or not it's safe to keep driving. You can even reset the check engine light if it's nothing serious. The algorithm tracks your mileage and automatically notifies you when it's time for routine maintenance to easily avoid costly repairs later. Furthermore, you can monitor all your vehicles from one account, making it easy to schedule services for family members, even if you're not physically there. So hit the link in our video description right down there to get Fixed for only $20. Normally, this thing is $60. That's a huge savings, and they're offering guaranteed delivery by Christmas. If necessary, Fixed will even upgrade shipping for free to ensure arrival of all purchases made before December 21st. This thing is great, and get it now. It makes an awesome stocking stuffer. Now enjoy today's video.
Number one, shift slowly in just normal mode. It actually bucks, and it just overcompensates. So I was driving, and then it just bucks like this. I shift, and then it actually shifts really slowly. So like my momentum keeps going straight.
Weird.
And then I'm like, bucket, and then it engages on normal. Man. So it
was.
So
it's like riding with someone who's 15 learning to drive a stick.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. All the time on just normal mode. So a lot of people figured out, well, you need to drive it like a manual, meaning you need to shift yourself on the paddles, which is fine, it's good. But then at that point, I'm like, might as well just actually just shift it using a gated shifter.
Especially when you know that on the other side of the wall, let's say, is one of the most highly regarded gated shifters in the world.
I was looking at past videos of people just reviewing like what the gated shifter felt like, because I never had the chance to test drive one, and everyone just gushes over the gated shifter.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I had to have that.
How long, like you make this decision, you're going to swap it yourself.
Yeah.
You didn't pay someone to do it. That's why the console is still looking the way it is. Don't make fun of him. The new leather wrap console is on the way. Like,
work in progress. Yeah.
Because you finished this how many months ago? 2
months ago. Yeah.
2 months ago, and waiting for a couple more things to be shipped. So you decided to do this swap yourself. Why? And how long did it take?
Why? Number one, to save money, because also I don't want to get taxed again to get a new car, because I just got this car, but at that time like a year ago.
Okay.
So it was 1 year into this car, and I was thinking, well, I want a 3-pedal. I want the gated shifter. Do I sell this car and get another manual, or do I go all in and research the heck out of this car and really, really understand the systems, the processes in place that what you need to do to swap this out. I kept researching. I actually took auto classes at community college to get more theory, just to build my confidence, because before this, the biggest job I've ever done was oil changes and changing shock absorbers.
Wow. Because Mark has a day job, so you have a day job.
Yeah.
Then you're doing community classes in automotive repair.
Yeah.
To get the confidence and knowledge. Are you an engineer by trade?
No, not by trade. I have a technical degree, like mathematics and stuff like that.
Okay, because that is just such a smart approach to this. Whereas I go, I've never done something like this before, so I'm gonna watch some videos and just see what happens, and then it takes me much longer.
Like there were a couple of times where I was just scratching my head because I've never worked on a transmission before, let alone take it apart. I was just scratching my head, but luckily I was able to reach out to the car community of a couple of people who've done it already and just texted them, DM'd them on Instagram that, hey, I'm at this point, I'm having trouble. What did you do to take this transmission case out? It's stuck.
One of the best things about the car community is the willingness to help other people, because it's how it's always been, and now with the internet, you can connect to more people in more countries and places, and the odds of you finding someone who has done this weird project are so high. Unless you're Rob Dahm doing something no one's ever done before, and building Ken Block's unicorn using photos. Most people, someone somewhere has done what you want to do, or has a piece of the knowledge that will help you get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
So from the day you decided I'm doing this to the day you first were able to pull out of the garage, with 3 pedals working, how long was that?
So I started getting parts almost a year in advance, and nights and weekends took me around 2 months to complete it.
Wow. Okay. Nights and weekends. Pretty good. All right. So we're going to go for a drive. We're going to continue this conversation, obviously, but I want to hear this amazing car because it's one of my favorite engines ever made, and see how your execution was. And then we're also going to talk about the numbers of buying versus building.
Yes.
And we should say that if you want to see a very, very detailed video series about how he did this, Mark has a YouTube channel, and he documented the whole thing really, really well in great detail. So if you are trying to do this to your car, or you just want to see how it was done, go check that out. The link is in the description. I mean, just the springs on this, the spring weight they use,
it's just
is
solid.
Great. It's really solid. And not even touching the gates, it just feels like all I'm contacting is aluminum and really nice springs.
Just metal on metal. There's there's no plastic.
Yes, exactly. A lot of cars today that have stiff shifters, it feels fake. It just feels like plastic's making contact, and there's a really strong bushing in there. But this is different. Sound. This engine is so smooth. It got louder, and I had to look down and realize we were already over 5,000 RPM. There's so little vibration. I mean, I know the engine's behind us, but still.
Yeah, it's a lower geared car, so it gets up really fast.
But I had read that some of launching the cars in the manuals was better because there was no restriction on the RPMs.
True.
Whereas in R-Tronic, it would only let you rev to $5,000.
Yeah.
And then, it kind of bog a little bit. So it seemed it was the 0 to 60 of the manual cars was quicker, but the quarter mile time was quicker for the R-Tronic.
Okay, yeah.
This is just one of the best cars ever made. I mean, I have enough space in here, I could wear a helmet, unlike with a Gallardo. The visibility is amazing. Sound is incredible. It feels, have you done anything in terms of repairing the interior? Because there's no wiggles or jiggles in here.
Yours came stock like this, so it was very well built. The interior is really well built for Audi.
Oh, dude! What a sound!
Yeah.
And so, Mark has an Inconel exhaust on this, but it is valved, electronically valved, right?
Yeah, so it's valved, so it opens up at 5,000 RPM.
See, I chose this road specifically for this car because it can, require a lot of shifting, and I'm doing as much of it as possible because it is so enjoyable. And then when you get into it, it's quick. It's 420 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque, all high up in the rev range.
Yep.
mean, Redline's at 8,200, which is not talked about enough. I mean, you know, all the cars today that rev to 9, GT4, RS, and whatnot, like they get a lot of credit, which they deserve. But I think we forget that there are engines out there that get close and have been getting close for a pretty long time. My God, yeah. Why would you? Any of the SMG, you know, single clutch automated manuals, they really suck. Like, they really suck. The E46 I've driven, I mean, it shifts slowly, and you have to do it a certain way. And that goes back to your point. If you have to shift the paddle a specific way and lift your foot off the throttle anyway, then why not just get a manual? Because you have to like, if you have to do these precise movements and you're still ending up with something that is inferior to a manual transmission, then just get the manual transmission.
Exactly. That was my point. I was like, I'm already shifting. I'm like halfway through. It's just a tease at this point for me right now, so I might as well just do it.
All right, so your car has the standard tire width, which is 225 front. Is it 285 rear?
It's a 295 in the rear and a 235 in the front.
Okay, so ratio is close. That's a really big difference.
Yeah.
And you put Olin suspension on this, right?
True. We're on Olin suspension.
I mean, you haven't changed a ton about the car, but you've kind of changed all that matters for what is a really usable supercar, which the R8 was right out of the box. So you put good suspension on it and the right transmission and a good exhaust, but the exhaust isn't too loud and it turns off after 5,000 RPM, which is good.
Yeah, I wanted to have a nice streetable car. I roll up into my neighborhood and I don't want to just piss everyone off. And like, I'm at a stage in my life where having a loud exhaust constantly is not what I wanted.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the 4.2, oop, there we go, I almost went in the reverse hole. The 4.2, I think, sounds so good, and it sounds louder than like its size would have you think it would. I mean, it especially when people really uncork these things, it can sound like an 8-liter engine. It just has such a huge sound to it, so angry. And even when it's just, you know, 420 horsepower. Oh, I did it again. Tap that. Yeah, you're right. You got to be really precise.
You got to be really
with
precise
the gates.
on first and second.
I mean, just listen. We got to roll down the window for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh. Any Audi with a 4.2 and some good pipes is worth its weight in gold, I think. It's worth its weight in repair bills, but...
I'm sitting in the passenger. I'm smiling myself. I'm not even driving. It's such a good car.
That is such a good sound. And, all right, the steering is like... Is this still hydraulic or is this early EPS? Hydraulic. All right, it's pretty light. I mean, I would say a little bit too light for... in my opinion, but it does make it an easy everyday supercar, which is what this was trying to be, and I think succeeded at. You know, they didn't want to make anything so hardcore that their market wouldn't want to buy it. I mean, it's so usable. The frunk is really big. We've got a lot of headroom, good for tall drivers. Way better than a Gallardo in that regard. And I think that this design has held up so well to time. I think it's one of the prettiest things ever made. The Gallardo from this era, like, it was an exciting car, but it's just like, I don't know, it's too blocky for me. I don't think it'll stand the test of time in terms of being one of the more beautiful cars in our era.
I agree.
And it looks pretty nice. I mean, man, these shocks do a great job.
Look, these Olins, man, they're worth their weight in gold.
And they cost about as much as they
are.
Too.
Like, that's what it is. Like, you pay to play.
Aren't they literally gold in color, too?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
You can take a B-roll of that, too, if you want.
I mean, they are, send me that file. Yeah, it's a really good company, and they're set up well. This is just the right car, man. Manual R8. And it's quick enough. It's not super fast.
No, yeah.
I think 0 to 60 was 4 seconds, quarter mile's like 12. You know, it's not anything by modern supercar standards, but compared to normal people and normal cars, it's very quick. And when you get out of it, it looks small. When it's sitting in the parking lot, it doesn't look like a huge car the way a lot of new supercars do, because cars have gotten bigger and bigger over the years. So I don't know, it seems like something would be pretty easy to park and move around. Dude, I'm so jealous of everything that you get to have every day.
Oh, thank you.
This is a joy.
This is such an amazing car.
I can't believe how freely it revs. I can't believe how quickly the revs go up.
And this is a stock tune. I did not tune the engine at all.
Yeah, you don't need I don't think you need to.
I don't think you need to for this one.
I mean, unless there's 40 horsepower on the table and it doesn't hurt the reliability at all, it feels quick. And this is like a really good momentum noise machine. Oh man, the shifter's great. Okay. I don't even know what I was going to say anymore. So you put it in, you drive it out of the driveway.
Yeah.
Did you have to refine any things?
Yeah, I had to leave the clutch line one more time because there were still a couple of bubbles. So the clutch initially was a little too high and a little bit too light.
Okay.
And I went back and dialed back in, reconfigured the shift cables, and we were good. Woo.
This is one of the best driving experiences I've had in, I don't know, a year.
Oh, thank you.
There's something like I've driven a lot of new Supercars this year and they are amazing, but this really reinforces why so many of us just want like a good sound, not too fast, manual transmission. I mean, and a really good dual clutch is an amazing thing, and it's like they're in two categories. Like, it is very satisfying in a different way, but this is a different kind of driving.
Yeah, it's more of a nostalgic drive that I always want to have, like when I ever drive a sports car or a supercar. So this is it. This is the experience that I wanted.
Yeah,
I don't need to go fast. I don't need to go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. That's just insane.
Like the actual mechanism, that click-clack is not just the shifter rod like hitting the gate. It's like the actual mechanism, even in neutral, right there. Like, that is just the right amount of tension. That's so good. Okay, so let's talk about numbers as we drive back to the parking lot. So I did some homework last night, looking on Auto Tempest, and if you want a manual 4.2 Audi R8, there were only 20 online on Auto Tempest. When I switched to automatic, there were like 50 plus. But the pricing was interesting. Basically, you're paying about 10 grand more for a manual, and you're getting a few more miles on it, but not the crazy amount I was expecting. So I found a car that had about 45,000 miles on it, and an automatic, and it was a manual, and it was in the like low 70s. An automatic version of that car for that money, you're getting something with like 28,000 miles. So you're getting a lot less miles, and you're saving $10,000 to $11,000. And it was just across the board. It was, you're gonna have a few more miles on it, and you're paying 10 grand more. And the cars ranged in price from 72,000 to about 130. 130 was the most, and that was a super low mile car, really nice spec, in a later one, like a 2012. So, how much did you spend on parts? You said it was like 10 grand?
It was 10 grand on parts.
And you spent none on labor because you did it yourself.
Yeah.
So, I'm not trying to make you sad right now.
Yeah.
I'm just asking this question based on the research I did.
Yeah.
The fact that you can get a manual equipped car with a few more miles for about $11,000 more than automatic.
Yeah.
Do you wish you had bought a manual up front, or would you recommend people do that rather than doing this work themselves?
So it's a good question. I say right now, if you have the extra 10K, just get it. Buy the manual, because you don't have to go through a lot of heartache like I did. However, the game changes when you're looking at V10 versions, and I think those are commanding a huge premium, more premium than a V8 manual, like a V10 manual. So therefore, I think you can get a R8 that's really good, V10 R8, and then convert it, and you'll still end up ahead.
So then you're coming out ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
What is it that makes the parts for this so expensive? Is it just a demand thing? Like, I'm not trying to go back to the E46 all the time. I know it's my only car, but I have other things to talk about. But that's a car where a lot of people talk about manual swaps.
Yeah.
And part of that reason is because the parts are only like $2,000.
Yeah.
So what is it here that makes the parts so expensive?
Yeah, this shifter here is like 2-3K.
Wow.
Here. Just this this right here.
So that's why it feels so
That's why
good.
it feels so good. You're paying for what you're getting. And then you have to go into the transmission and actually change out the manual shifter forks and also get the adapter that the shifter that sits on top of the transmission. That's another 2-3K.
Got it.
And then you go into the transmission and change out the forks because the shifting engagement forks are different widths versus the Artronic shifting forks. So I had to go in and take out all those forks, replace them, and then put on the new shifter on top.
Wow. All right. So there's a little bit more involved.
A little bit more involved.
And I mean, just the fact that this assembly costs, it sounds like, as much or more than all the parts you need for an SMG changeover. But I mean, you got to learn a lot on the way.
You got to learn a lot on the way, and I would do it all over again. So yeah.
I mean, now you probably won't be afraid to do other work on cars because you have the education.
I do, yeah, and I've been very confident, and I knew like two other people. One friend who was looking at getting an Artronic and manual swap in, and another person is like thinking, hey, if I were to get an R8, would you help me swap it too? So I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Like I'll help you swap, and then we could do it in my garage and all that sort of stuff. So yeah.
Oh man, so you're gonna have a roommate you're married, but you're gonna have another roommate for what, a couple months?
Yeah. So let's hopefully I could probably knock this out in like a week and a half now, just working straight on now. So I know exactly what I'm doing.
Wow.
Versus like just figuring out what to do, scratching my head for 2 months.
All right. Well, now you got a new side business, and the result is a joy. So if anyone's thinking of getting an R8 manual, do it. Dude, thank you so much for coming up here. I know it's a long drive. I really appreciate it. And thanks for doing the work. It's a great education for me. And I didn't have to do any of the hard work like you did. So
my pleasure.
Again, if you want to see the detailed videos of that conversion, go check out Mark's YouTube channel. It is in the link right down below in the description. And it's also going to be on the screen right here, right now. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for listening to the podcast. And we will see you next time.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.
This thing sounds so fucking good.
Dude. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's so good. Even the V8 is like, yeah, some people love the V8 sound more than the
I do.
V10.
I prefer this over the V10 any day. Like, I have said this for a long time. If I had money, I would get a V8 R8 and then get the supercharger on it, because then you have V10 power, but you have the V8 sound.